This video is about setting the history environment variables. Okay, here's my bash RC file, and here's where I set my history environment variables. These are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I believe these are the only 5 history environment variables, and I'm setting each one of them here so that this stuff stays on record. Hist size specifies how many lines I want to maintain in history. Hist file size is the maximum file size. Obviously, if the size starts to grow or the number of lines is more than this, the oldest lines will roll off the end. If I want to learn more about the environment variables of the history command, I should check the man page. Okay, this over here. Basically, the fact that this environment variable is set causes the history command to show a timestamp for each line in history. The format of this string over here is something called strf time. If I Google it or research it, I can find other strings which have different formats for time that I can use with this environment variable. I'm going to show what this actually looks like. Okay, you see every line has a line number, and here's this timestamp. And then here's the actual command that's stored in history. Okay, now I'm going to talk about the hist control variable. It can have 3 values. Either ignore dupes, ignore space, or ignore both. I have it set to ignore both. Ignore dupes means if I enter the same command twice in a row, I don't want history to remember both lines. Remembering one line is enough in that case. Now, ignore space means if I start a command with some empty space, then ignore that command. Don't store it in history. Now, Bash and Unix have no problem entering a command whether or not you have space in the beginning. However, if you set history this way, then if you don't want a certain line to appear in your history for security purposes or whatever, then all you need to do is just put a space or 2 in the beginning of the command before you type your command and enter it. Okay, I'm gonna test, trying to enter a line with a space. So I'll modify this one. I put 1 space. Okay, it ran the command. Now I'm gonna hit up arrow. See, it didn't store it in history. I could even do this and you'll see. See, the last command it ran was this one. It didn't show that line with the space because it was this line. And it would have showed up like over here between these 2 lines. Now let me try 2 commands that are duplicates. Like let me run history again. Okay. See, I ran it twice, but it still showed up only once. And here it is. Okay. Now, this is very useful. History tail 10. If you don't want the screen to scroll up with every line in history that was recorded from 3 years ago, then use the tail command the way that I used it right here. It works and it does its job.